You know, it's like the subtle listening becomes very important. The trusting of our intuition becomes very important. And that doesn't mean that we don't then, as we look at, oh, it needs, oh, the geometry is off. Oh, the values need more attention. Oh, those edges aren't really working. Great. And then we go back to it. But a lot, you know, we need to get a sense of what is it calling for. You know, it feels to me like something's presenting itself here. That's nice, you know, and it's like, oh, I want to honor that. I want to abide by that.
But sometimes when you're looking at, for instance, your flowers there in the vase,
yeah,
or if I'm looking at that, or
yeah,
I maybe done a simplistic version of it, and the colors are working and the values,
yeah.
but then I'm trying to force it to look exactly like it is. And that's when I find I can ruin it, because I'm starting to get very technical then in my mind, whereas the simplistic version of it was just lovely and simple.
So, you know, you need to start attending to your intention
Right.
of the painting. And if that fresh, open simplification is more compelling for you, you need to honor that very deliberately and not slip into, you know, it could be at a certain point, your mind starts moving into how you think it should be done.
Yes.
Rather than what you're finding personally delightful.
Yes.
And when you notice that your mind is changing in terms of its intention, stop.
Right.
That's all. Just practice that. And you may find it does need more objective specificity. Maybe the geometry isn't quite working, but that needs to fit into the context of its direct freshness, not the other way around, if that's what you're looking for.
Yes, yes.
So put a pause on it so you don't just slip into, because we all have patterns of how we think it's supposed to be. And once we start painting from how we think it's supposed to look, we are not coming from our own sensibility, right, our own core. We are, in a sense, bringing from our imagined outside perspective into our making, and we're splitting ourselves.
Yes, yes.
And once we start splitting ourselves, of course, there can't be a real heartfelt mark, because we're not actually quite here.
Right.
We're kind of going ahead of ourselves.
Right.
And for an imagined idea of what would make it good, as opposed to I'm enjoying myself and that's enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, there's a difference also. I want to put that in context. I could be enjoying myself and it could just stay there, and that really can be enough, but that's not necessarily what makes a painting strong. To take that, I need to understand this image that I so enjoyed making, or was so deeply engaged in, because sometimes that engagement isn't necessarily pleasurable. It could be angst-ridden, but it's real.
Yes. Yes.
So then how do I take that immersive experience and really bring it to wholeness? That's in the terms of that painting, which is different than an imagined image that I think would be satisfying for those people, whoever they are, out there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay? Neither of those two things is simply, I'm enjoying myself and having a hell of a good time.
Yeah.
You know, which is not bad, but it's not quite the same as bringing it to wholeness. It might be, or it might not.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right, but we do need to honor that too. That's certainly, of course, if we don't have that deep sense of satisfaction, then like, but then we need to, you know, watch, am I veering into some imagined, image, or, you know, what's going to make this good?
Yes, yes, I understand. Great explanation.
Great.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, and one of the, just to add on to that, one of the difficulties with the process that I just described, that I'm not going to go for that imagined image that I think will make my painting liked out there, is that what I'm looking for is really ultimately and fully dependent on my sensibility and my authority. And the question of self-authority is key and really hard. It's not easy. I'm not relying on any external authority. I might be interested. I might be influenced. I might want some, conversation, but to really assume full responsibility and authority for my image making, for my making, that's tough. And what I'm also suggesting to give that context is, when you look at that direct, honest rendition, as you forget everything, but you just go right there. You've got your skill sets, but now they're intuitive. They're in your blood. Okay, and you just kind of go. Is how that you may end up with this image that's really unexpected, that may not seem to fit anything out there. And then to be able to recognize that it has its own place. It has its own worth. And it doesn't necessarily correspond to what's going on out there. That's hard.
It can be frustrating
and confusing.
And confusing.
Because we want to make things that will get recognized, and we want things that will be judged as good
and accepted.
Yeah, accepted. Of course we do. Of course we do. So it takes real courage to, honestly, courage to say, you know what, I just have to do what I'm doing, and I certainly want to make it strong. And there certainly is a collective culture about that, but I still need to listen closely to my own sensibility. That's hard.